show.
No rules! That's what I'm talking about.
Dogs on the Run begins now.
All right, we're sitting solo today on Dogs on the Run. My good friend Andre Knott and his wife Jen are about to have their second child this morning, so we'll see what happens. Hopefully everything works out perfectly for them because they are a great couple, and I'm hoping for good things, and I hope that you're wishing right along with them. Obviously, the Browns did not play yesterday, so it is kind of one of those layout weeks and try to figure out exactly where the Browns are heading, especially after watching Tennessee play yesterday. Boy, I feel good about the Browns next week. Let's bring in Eric, the referee, right away this morning. Hi, Eric. How are you?
Hello, hello. I want to know why Andre is not Skyping in from the
From the delivery room?
Yeah, I mean, come on.
That would be good stuff, wouldn't it?
Wouldn't it be? Yeah.
Maybe not. Did you take health? Did you take 8th grade health?
I did.
Yeah, I don't think I want to see that. I've already been there for 2, and unless they're mine, that's I let people have their own way in there. All right, what do you want to talk about on the show today? It's your show, Eric the referee.
I want to know, how good is this Browns team? Are we a playoff team? I mean, we're 1-2, but we've played better than that. We could be 3-0. We lost a couple heartbreakers. Is this team a playoff team?
All right.
What is Brian Hoyer? Is he the franchise quarterback? I know it's really too early to tell. And how's this running back situation going to play out? Those are the 3 things I'm looking at. I mean, Isaiah Crowell's looked really good, but is he going to bite into Ben Tate's carries when Ben Tate comes back?
All right, all of these things coming up on the show as well. We'll have Tim Couch coming up, Chris Horn. We're going to go back to the newsroom. We're going to spend a good portion of the day, though, today with our good friend, Mr. Kenny Rhoda. Kenny, Ohio State with a nice win on Saturday. I was a little worried about the Buckeyes there for a moment, but as you have...
You and me both.
I
had them losing this game before the season started. I figured they'd lose one of these non-conference games, and I didn't expect it to be Virginia Tech. I thought it would be the Cincinnati game because of the passing attack, but they were able to outscore them, but they've got a lot of work to do with that secondary, kind of like the Browns right now with Joe Hayden and Justin Gilbert. Both teams need some work in their secondary.
Boy, Kenny, looking back at Ohio State on Saturday, I thought for a moment there that Urban Meyer was going to have 4 sale signs in front of his house, especially in the first half.
You know what? Did you watch the HBO piece on him, Andy?
I did not see that? I watched bits and pieces. I have it on my DVR. I've not watched it yet.
Go back and watch it because I think if this were happening when he were in Florida, he would have been losing his mind with the way this defense has played over the last, 3 games last year and 4 games this year, so the last 7 games. But he has changed a little bit, and I think he realizes that this team now, the identity is its offense. It's starting to come together with all the pieces, parts, with Ezekiel Elliott. Chris Beanie-Wells and I were texting or tweeting back and forth during the game. There's no question who their running back is. It's Ezekiel Elliott. You make him the feature back and just keep giving him the ball, whereas the Browns, they've got a 3-headed monster now with Terrence West, Isaiah Crowell, and when Ben Tate comes back, I mean, Ben Tate's averaging 6.8 yards per carry. Sure, it's a small sample size, but still, they've got 3 good ones. But at Ohio State, it's Ezekiel Elliott's game now. And Urban knows that he's going to have to outscore teams with the Browns as we flip it over back to Dogs on the Run. The offense, to me, has played better than I expected for Brian Hoyer coming off the ACL tear, not knowing what to expect from this receiving core without Josh Gordon. The O has been okay for me, if not better than okay. It's the defense, the run defense, and that secondary that need to get their you-know-what together.
I would say, and we were talking about this, I don't know if we brought this up on the show last week, but Brian Hoyer so far is the MVP of this team. I know they're 1-2, so I think you'd rather be an MVP of a team that was at least 2-1. But still, as I look at this team and of all the expectations I had for the Browns for this season, the offense was my humongous question mark. I never thought that we'd get into a situation where we'd be talking about the defense not being able to stop the run at all. No pressure from the outside. You got a lot of money tied up in the defense. You've got high draft picks tied up in the defense. You've got, guys in here that are supposed to be, defensive base. And your head coach that you brought in is a defensive guy. And if you said, well, why is this team truly 1-2? I point the finger right at the defense. Kenny?
I'm gonna add something to that. I agree with most of what you said, Andy, but the special teams have been awful. I mean, one of the worst special teams units in the National Football League. No return yards. We've had a kick blocked. You've missed field goals. You had a team run a fake punt on you deep in their own territory that kind of changed the momentum of the game. in that Pittsburgh game. So while the defense has been bad and that porous run defense is one of the worst in the NFL right now, special teams have contributed to the losses as well. And during this bye week, the two things I was hoping that they would really focus on are the run defense areas, whatever that might be, whether it's the guys up front, which I thought was the deepest part of the team, the defensive line, or if it's the linebackers not coming up and making the plays, and special teams figuring out, whether or not Christian Yount is the long snapper moving forward for this team. Do they make a change with Spencer Lanning at holding the football? Does Brian Hoyer go back there and do what he's done in the past and hold for Billy Cundiff? And, of course, in the punt return game and just the punt game itself, they've got to get that locked up and tied down so they don't get gashed either in returns or with fake punts anymore.
All right, Kenny, Tim Couch is going to be joining us here in just a few moments. We're going to go back to the newsroom in a couple minutes with Chris Horn. What else? We have Craig Lindell waiting for next year. We're going to talk to Michael Knoll, who's the president of the Mid-South Browns Backers Club out of Memphis, Tennessee, as the Browns get ready to face the Titans next week, who, by the way, do not look good at all. I mean, if you're the Browns, you should be licking your chops after watching yesterday's game.
You know what? Not just that game. I'm looking at the schedule up here. You've got Tennessee, Pittsburgh, Jacksonville, Oakland, Tampa Bay. As I'm looking at my schedule up on my desk here, these next 5 games, you could make an argument that the Browns will be favored in 4 out of the 5 and that they should win at least 4 out of the 5 games, considering who they're playing and what I saw yesterday, too. How about the Steelers yesterday? You talk about an embarrassing loss. They didn't take Tampa Bay seriously. We're down 10-0, then looked like they had it in control. And then their defense, at the age of that defense, the Browns have them coming up at home as well during this stretch. So I expect the Browns to win at least minimum 3 out of the next 5, if not 4 out of the next 5 games.
Kenny, I'll go through the schedule here, but let's talk about that Steelers game for a second yesterday. I can't believe Tampa got the ball back with inside of 2 minutes. No timeout.
Todd Haley, worst thing that's happened to the Steelers in years. Why they didn't just cut ties with him in the offseason is beyond me. He and Ben Roethlisberger, they don't get along. It's like Republicans and Democrats. There's just no cohesion. There's no working together. They can spin it however they want. That's a big factor when you know your defense isn't your strength and you're just willing to run it, pass it, and then run it, and not worry about getting the first down and think that an ancient Troy Polamalu is going to help back there. No Ike Taylor in the secondary, 3 defensive starters out. I was tweeting and texting with my son back and forth yesterday during that game, and I saw it coming. The Steelers got exactly what they deserved. They didn't take them seriously, and they're not that good. I thought they would make the playoffs as a wild card because of how weak their schedule is. But looking at them right now, they are not a good football team. The 2 best teams in this division are Cincinnati and Baltimore. And Baltimore with Stevie Smith yesterday having a big game against his former team, they're pretty good. And while they came in last time against the Browns and eked out a victory, this is a pretty good football team. And Cincinnati and Baltimore are the best 2, and the Browns and the Steelers are behind them.
I was watching as I was kind of keying in on the end of that Steelers game. I was like, boy, they feel like they're the Browns this week. That's what it felt like at the end. To watch them lose that game, it was almost like the offense figured out a way for the other team to win at the end. I still can't get over that stalled drive at the end of the game.
Well, and that, I guarantee you, it wasn't Ben Roethlisberger making those calls. If he would have been making those calls, he'd have been throwing the football and realizing that his defense sucks, which it does. And he would have tried to pick up the first. So what if you stop the clock? Your best chance of moving the football, you've thrown it all day on them. They can't cover Antonio Brown, and they elect to just run it into the middle of the line when they weren't having as much success running the ball yesterday. So they got what they deserved. They're an average football team. They've been 8-8 the last 2 years, and they're down that path again, 8-8, 9-7 because of a weak schedule.
Antonio Brown yesterday, I thought if he catches that one ball and puts the game away at the end, it's all over. But, man, he's a great receiver, especially watching him early on in that game. It's hard. I can't – how mad can you get at a guy for what happened at the end of the game when he drops a pass when you know how well he did for the rest of the game?
Well, the problem is he's the only one they have right now. Marcus Wheaton is still a question mark. Lance Moore, I think, finally got one ball yesterday. They don't have a lot of other weapons because of losing Hines Ward and Mike Wallace and Emmanuel Sanders, who's looking fantastic in Denver now. What a great pickup for them. So they've got Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell, so they've got two guys on offense to go with Ben that are going to have to help them score a ton of points if they're going to win more than they lose this year.
All right, Kenny, hang on a second. Eric, the referee, I need you for a second. Eric, yes. What's the scoop? Are we going back to the newsroom? What do you want to do here for the rest of the show?
I want you to talk to Kenny for a little bit more. We're setting up Chris Horn standing by.
Okay.
And Tubby Dog is standing by as well.
Tubby Dog is standing by. And what about how's Tim doing this morning?
We're getting Tim in a couple minutes.
All right, so Tim Couch is going to join us as well. All right, Kenny, let's go back and talk a little bit about that schedule, what you see. Because I see the same thing. I look at you, I go, Titans, win. If they don't win next week, I'll be shocked. It's the one game I'm looking at now as, well, Jaguars are there too, but of the two of the next three, and then the Raiders after that and the Bucks after that, man, this schedule is very favorable for the Browns. And, you know, having the extra week now, this is where I like it because now you're well-rested, going on the road, which I never like doing in the NFL, but you're going on the road, you're going to the Titans, and now this is a clear-cut game where the Browns should be able to go out and do what they do well.
Well, Jake Locker's out, right? So it's going to be either Charlie Whitehurst or Zach Mettenberger. I mean, you have an advantage at quarterback. The first three games, Andy, they did not have the advantage at quarterback, and Brian Hoyer actually played pretty well. Quarterback rating just under 100, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, hasn't thrown a pick in 6 games, 156 consecutive passes. So he actually did well in those 3 games. But those 3 teams that we talked about that they're 1-2 against to start the season, they have Super Bowl winning quarterbacks in Roethlisberger, in Breeze, and in Joe Flacco. In these next 5 games, you're only going to be facing Roethlisberger again. And like I said, with Tennessee, Whitehurst or Mettenberger, advantage Cleveland in the quarterback category for the first time this season. I know it's on the road, and it's always tougher to play on the road. It really is. Look at the Saints. They're not a good road team. Atlanta lost again yesterday. They were on the road. You wouldn't think they'd lose to Minnesota. But when you look at the quarterback battle, at least you're going to be equal to, if not better, to the likes of whoever it is for Tennessee. Blake Bortles played okay yesterday in his first NFL start, but still you would think Hoyer would have the advantage over Blake Bortles there. Mike Lennon versus Brian Hoyer. I think that's maybe a wash there if that's who's quarterbacking Tampa Bay when they play him. So they're playing teams now that aren't Super Bowl contending teams without Super Bowl winning quarterbacks. So that kind of, I think, evens things out when you go on the road against teams like that.
All right, Kenny, again, if you want to call in, 216-431-3820. 216-431-3820 is the number to call in, or you can hit us on Skype at Dogs on the Run. Kenny,
nice haircut, too, by the way, Andy. I saw you on the news the other night, man. You got your lid busted. You got the Jack Nicholson look from A Few Good Men, man. Two thumbs
short,
up.
Don't you think? Come on, man.
Yeah.
I need a fedora.
Yeah, I noticed it the other night. When you notice something like that means whoever your stylist was did a great job for you, man.
I'm thinking that if I was 25 years old, I'd be a lot happier because it's about 40 pounds lighter and less 2 kids and all those situations. It's too short, man. I just think it's too short. Look on the side.
It'll grow back, though, dude. Or just put the fedora on. Find a fedora that you like and, wear it for dogs. Get a Dogs on. That's what we need to do. We need to start marketing Dogs on the Run, man. Dogs on the Run fedoras to go along with the T-shirts, right?
I like the way you're thinking.
We need to put some of that stuff together.
Eric, what do you